Republicans have been conspicuously quiet about the MAGA Republican federal judge's ruling invalidating the FDA's approval of the abortion medication mifepristone. Only one Republican senator has publicly crowed about it, Mississippi's Cindy Hyde-Smith. The silence is probably because they know it's wildly unpopular, so much so that it has enraged a part of their supposed pro-business party base.
Well, not just their pro-business party base, but also their own base, as a large part of Republicans do support the access to abortion medications.
Big Pharma. Hundreds of industry executives signed onto an open letter blasting Judge Matthew Kacsmaryk, saying the ruling ignores science, undermines the FDA's authority, and creates uncertainty for the entire industry.
Well, yeah, Republicans, though, have always been against science. Look at them claiming that the use of solar panels will cause the sun to explode, or wind farms will cause the Earth rotation speed to decrease.
Of course, the Republican trademark is being out of touch on, well, everything: abortion, democracy, guns, LGBTQ issues, you name it. Today, the LGBTQ advocacy group Equality Florida issued a warning about travel or moving to the state, warning of risks to health, safety, and freedom moving through its legislature under the Ron DeSantis regime. It comes days after a Florida Republican state representative had to apologize for an extravagantly offensive rant during a hearing where he called transgender people demons and imps.
I'm looking at society today, and it's like I'm watching an X-Men movie. It's like we have mutants living among us on planet Earth. I'm a proud Christian, conservative Republican.
Yep. Yeah, proud Christian conservative Republican. No surprise there why you see other people as mutants, demons, or imps. Funny thing is, 100 years ago, the same conservative Christian Republicans would be saying the same thing about black people. That we got demons trying to be humans, looking to be equal to the white man.
I'm not on the fence.
Christian conservative Republican. That tracks. Meanwhile, in Missouri, House Republicans are taking their culture wars to a chilling extreme. They voted Tuesday to strip all state funding from public libraries, purely out of spite. They did it because Missouri librarians are suing the state over a law that has led to the banning of 300 books.
Wow. So librarians are like, hey, we want our books back. So Republicans are like, you know, we're going to defund your books because we don't care about, people going to be able to, enjoy themselves somewhere, learn some education or something. This is, and right-wingers do stuff like this all the time, just out of spite towards people who want good things for society.
Many of them, unsurprisingly, authored by or telling stories about people of color and LGBTQ people. Joining me now is MSNBC political analyst and former Senator Claire McCaskill. And Claire, you now have to have travel advisories in Florida, and Missouri Republicans are saying, we're going to defund the libraries. Make it make sense.
Well, it's very hard to. Absolute power not only corrupts, but it also produces really extreme viewpoints. When you think you are absolutely free of any threat, other than from someone further to more extreme than you are, then you go for it.
Well, I don't know about absolute power. These people believe that their religious belief is the moral authority of everything. So if you don't abide by their moral authority, they're going to punish you. And anybody that isn't as extreme as them, they will see as the opposite extreme because they're deluded, hardcore Christians.
In Missouri, we have a trifecta going in this legislative session. First, we have the fact that they have passed the most restrictive abortion law in the country. From conception, No exceptions. Rape victims are forced to give birth in the state of Missouri if they are impregnated by the criminal who attacked them. Second,
So, if a 12-year-old gets raped and gets impregnated, they're going to be forced to have that baby. How is that traumatic for a person to be raped as a kid and then forced to have that kid? And then what are they going to do? How are they going to raise that kid? It's messed up how Republicans think people shouldn't have abortions because it's a life-changing event, but think 12-year-olds should be forced to give birth after getting raped.
they voted, Joy, to let children openly carry weapons, AR-15s, and now
Wait, actual, like, kids, or, like, older teens, which still isn't good. Should at least be 21 to be able to get some guns.
they've defunded all public libraries because someone had the nerve to use our Constitution to assert themselves in a court of law to determine the limits of the First Amendment. So, I mean, it is really nuts, and it is hard to watch for me because I'm a former member of the Missouri legislature back when there were conservative people and there were liberal people, and then there were a whole lot of people that figured out how they could talk to each other. Not anymore. It is one-way road to the most extreme positions you can possibly imagine. And the only way to fix it is for the people to vote.
Well, and the thing is, you make that point because, back when Tennessee had an all-Democratic legislature, there were stories of sort of they went too far in some ways, wielding their power of Republicans. Having absolute power, as you said, is always corrupting for whichever party. This isn't a partisan statement. It's just you give people that much power. Let me play you a soundbite, which is stunning. This is a conversation between State Senator Mike Moon and a Democratic representatives about something, as you said, you want to talk about extremism? This is about whether children, babies, should be allowed to be raped and then married by adults. Take a listen.
I've heard you talk about parents' rights to raise their kids how they want. In fact, I just double-checked. You voted no on making it illegal for kids to be married to adults at the age of 12 if their parents consented to it. You said actually that should be the law because it's the parents' right and the kids' right to decide what's best for them to be raped by an adult. Okay?
Do you know any kids who have been
With
married
marriage.
at age 12?
That was the law.
do you know any
You voted
kids-
not to change it.
Do you know any kids who have been married at age 12?
I don't need to.
I do. And guess what? They're still married.
Wow, his defense to, do you find it, you voted for a bill that allows kids to be raped at 12 and forced married, and his response is, well, I know kids that got raped at 12 and they're still married. Well, yeah, they're kids. How are they going to escape a marriage that they're forced into? This dude is a groomer. And right-wingers are the ones screaming about the left wing doing grooming when right-wingers have always been in support of child rape, child marriage, and stuff like that. And they all think it's their right because a lot of these right-wingers are hardcore Christians that believe in that because the Bible allows for it. And their screams of groomer against the left and trans people, it's just them projecting. This dude is messed up, and people voted for him into office knowing that he is for child rape.
I don't even know what to do with that, Claire. I don't even know what to do with it.
Yeah. It is so disgusting. And it's embarrassing for me and millions of other Missourians who are so sad that this man, not only was he a state representative, he got elected to the Senate. He represents over 100,000 people in a rural part of our state. So, and by the way, a lot of these bills I just talked about, Joy, the ones that are so extreme, many of them are pushed by people that had no opponent last election.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I think we don't talk about enough on many of the wonderful programs I am blessed to appear on is telling people it is more than just going on Twitter. It is more than talking about it with your family, your friends, the people who agree with you. It is about running and registering people to vote. And I think it's important to point out that school boards, city councils, state legislative seats, county commissions, those races can be won with shoe leather.
Yeah, but, when you don't have good people on the opposing side, people aren't gonna want to vote for those people.
You can knock on doors. You can meet your voters. You don't have to have a gajillion dollars. You don't have to have some fancy photograph or video or commercial. All you have to do is get out there and meet people and say, do you really want our state to be represented by people who think it's okay for 12-year-olds to marry adults? Is that a good idea? If more of us would do that, take up the passion you feel and run and register other people to vote. I think that's the only way we check this kind of power run amok that is doing these culture wars that really are hurting people.
You are speaking my language, my good sister, because I am a broken record on this, that I think people have difficulty connecting voting and elections all up and down the ballot to preventing people like this from having power. Representative Clay Higgins of Louisiana says that over time, American communities will build beautiful church-owned public access libraries. Churches will. I'm going to help these churches get funding. We will change the whole public library paradigm. The libraries regular Americans recall are gone. They've become liberal grooming centers.
Wow, liberal grooming centers, because they have books that teach people about history, gender equality, well, pretty much everything. It's a library. They usually have, almost every book you can probably get if they have good enough funding. But he wants to steal money from the public so that he can fund churches so that they can make their own religious BS church where they would censor people and tell them that, they have to be Christian. This is the problem with having, religious people in positions of power, because they all want to force their religious belief onto people.
If you think that sounds bonkers, don't think for a second that that person will not enact that. Because as you said, Claire, he will run unopposed. The people who think that's crazy won't vote. The young people will march, but not necessarily vote. And a lot of people will get hurt simply because, DeSantis only won because 1.3 million Floridians stayed home. That's the thing that drives me nuts.